Hi, everyone. This is Mark Akampora with the WasteExpo. The gentleman who was talking before this was Jefferson Davis with Competitive Edge. And I just wanted to introduce you first. Thanks for coming to the webinar. This is the new exhibitor web briefing, how to have a positive and profitable exhibiting experience at WasteExpo. And again, I'd like to thank you for attending the webinar today. First of all, I want to let you to know, again, thank you so much for becoming a new exhibitor at WasteExpo. You guys are very important to us, to the show, to the industry. All our surveys have indicated that attendees to the show definitely rank seeing new products and suppliers really among some of the top reasons for attending the show. So it's very important, so thank you very much. Also, new exhibitors definitely keep our exhibit hall interesting, and you guys also reflect the growing and dynamic part of this industry. One of the most important things that we want to provide to you is to make sure we can do everything possible to help you succeed at the show, because really that's the reason why you're there. Also, yeah, unlike other shows, what we really want to do, this is the most important thing, right? We just don't want to rent you that booth and throw you guys to the wolves and hope it works. We want to give you really the tools you need to make this show more productive and profitable. Works for WasteExpo, and it will work for any other trade show you exhibit at as well. So we're going to give you some good tools here. So the WasteExpo, we're committed to your success. We are providing a roadmap for you to help you succeed. So there's 5 steps to that roadmap that will really help. One, like Jefferson said, definitely download the implementation tools and strategic planning exercises that are in here. More important, do those planning exercises around the target dates for all these webinars and tools we'll be going through as we proceed through the year. Watch the live webinars and also replay them to complete the exercises. Also, in step 4, read exhibiting articles for additional insight and ideas. Those definitely help you all throughout the year to help you have a good exhibiting experience. And ask the trade show expert, use Jefferson Davis, email him any questions. He will get back to you very fast. Also very important, share all this information, not just by yourself, but share it with your team. It will help everybody who would be attending the show to help you guys have a better experience at the event. Also, always, any questions you ever have, you reach out to this exhibitor support team. Deb Busby, who's our sales contact for companies A through I, me, Mark Akampora for J through Z. Any kind of sponsorship or marketing programs, definitely reach out to Rennie, who's on this list. And Catherine Hollibert is our exhibitor service rep. She is awesome. She'll get back to you quick with any and all logistical operations questions that you'll have along the way. And last but not least is Jefferson Davis, who is on the call with us. He's been doing this for a very long time, has helped out numerous exhibitors along the way, really turned this into a profitable situation for you guys. So definitely listen, reach out, and lean on Jefferson anything you have throughout the year.
All right, thank you, Mark. And again, thanks for everyone for really the trust and the confidence that you're placing in WasteExpo. Mark, myself here today. I've been around the industry, the waste industry now for over 20 years. Was real active in WasteExpo, worked with several exhibitors in the industry, helping them turn their trade shows around. And I'm really excited to be back. It's been a few years. And if you've seen or heard me around anywhere, you know a few things about me. Number one is that trade shows are my wheelhouse, right? I always tease people. I don't know much, but I do know a lot about shows. And the reason I know so much about them is because I've been around them for 30 years, and being a student and a practitioner and a coach and a teacher, I've been on the hunt really to try to answer the major question: what are critical factors that we as exhibitors need to address if we're going to get value and if we're going to get a return on our investment? And I've been really working on that for over 30 years, and I think we've cracked the code, if you will, of the clients where I've done tracking now. We've been able to trace over $800 million in results from trade shows. So we know a few things. We know trade shows work. We know if you view them properly and you execute them properly, they'll work for you too. So if you ever have questions, you can reach me through the Ask the Trade Show Experts. You can also reach out. I'd be happy to provide anybody on this web briefing with a complimentary teleconsultation just to talk about your issues, your challenges, your questions, right? And I also do a blog, trade show productivity blog. So if you're interested, jump over to tradeshowturnaround.com and sign up for the blog. I just put a new post out today on learning, which I think will be quite interesting to everybody. So let's get started here. We're kind of kicking off this show. We're looking out here in May. We've got some time here, and I think it's important to begin at the beginning and, really answer the big question: what are trade shows really all about? Well, at the end of the day, when you boil it down from the lights and the graphics and the demonstrations, they're about face and they're about next. That's really the magic power of trade shows, face and next. And, because a lot of the benefits of brand awareness, lead generation, we can get those benefits through other channels, but the magic power, what makes trade shows so awesome, is putting our company identity, our staff, our products face-to-face, right, with waste industry professionals who can influence and make buying decisions for what we offer, and getting them at the show to commit to some clear next step. So trade shows are about face. And that might sound simple, but you'd be amazed. I am a faculty member at Exhibitor Show. I've been conducting multiple sessions at Exhibitor Show for over 15 years. According to Exhibitor, the average attendee at Exhibitor Show has a trade show budget of over $600,000 a year is what they're spending. And when I ask my classes, I ask, hey, when you fill out that contract and you send in that check, what are you buying? And I have to pull face out of them. I really do. They're like concrete, real estate, visibility, branding, leads, but it's really about face. That's what I really want to start off with. And that being said, my whole trade show optimization process is built on the fundamental big idea that trade shows are about face and next. Okay, so the second thing is, and I'm glad you're here because all of you are here today at the end of January for a show that's coming up in May. It tells me that you probably intuitively get this next big idea, is that the problem is too many exhibitors, when they think of a trade show, they think of it 3 days out there in the future. Well, it's not really just those 3 days, right? It's more like a 6-month campaign at minimum. So you're starting at least about 3 months before showtime, and then you're having your 3 or 4 days at the show, and then you're having at least 3 months of really focused post-show activity. And this is where a lot of exhibitors get into trouble. They tend to do the logistical stuff, but they don't deal with the strategic stuff. And for too many exhibitors, when the doors close, the show's over. But for the highly successful exhibitor, that's where the real work begins. So I encourage you to view a trade show not as an event, but as a campaign. And I encourage you to clearly define the critical actions before, during, and after the show. And just like a chain, if you were to, if any of these links were cracked or corroded or compromised, the integrity or the strength of the chain is weakened. Same thing with trade shows. So we want to make sure that you're looking at this through the right frame. It's about face. It's not just 3 days, okay? And here's the next big idea. The average exhibitor spends 95% of their pre-show time on logistics and operations. What do I mean by that? Well, get the space, get the booth, get the graphics, get the products, get the people, send and ship them to the convention center, set it up, tear it down, send it home, do all that on time and on budget and call that pre-show planning. I don't really call that pre-show planning. I mean, I know you have to do it, right? Otherwise, your booth, your products, and your people won't show up. But here's the thing. If you spend 95% of your pre-show time on logistics and operations, the only thing that it guarantees, and it doesn't always guarantee that if you've ever had your booth or a product or a person not show up, the only thing it guarantees is that you show up. It doesn't guarantee that you'll get anything from the big investment of human and financial capital. You know, the old saying used to be, half a success is just showing up. Well, that's not true at trade shows. Absolutely not true. So we have to make sure that we're dealing with the strategic side of it. And as a student, a practitioner, a consultant, a trainer, an author, I've been on the hunt for what are the critical success factors. If you're familiar with the Pareto principle or the 80-20 rule, you know that typically 80% of the results, the value that you get, will come from 20% of the actions or the activities. And so I've been trying to find out what are those critical success factors. What are the things that make the difference between an expensive appearance where you show up, you fly the flag, you scan some badges, you hand out some tchotchkes, and you go home, or a productive, profitable investment. And I would like to share with you what 30 years experience and $800 million in combined results point to those 5 critical success factors. Defining your outcomes, it's selectively attracting the right audience to the show and to your booth, it's managing the visitor experience, it's lead management, and then it's measuring both your performance and your results. Okay, so let's add a little color to these factors, if you will. Okay, so the first critical success factor is defining your outcomes. And if you read Stephen Covey's outstanding book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Dr. Covey's first habit was be proactive versus reactive, right? Which is what we're doing today. The second habit, begin with the end in mind. And I can't say it any better than that. I mean, he really just brought it home. So that's how we should start a trade show. We should define what success looks like at closing time, 90 days, 180 days after the show. If you can get clear on what success looks like, you know, after the show, in 3 areas, sales, marketing, and customer relationship management. And you can turn those into goals, clearly defined written goals, and back them up with workable action plans. You will be in the top 20% of every show you do. Exhibitor Magazine research found that only 24% of exhibitors set specific goals for trade shows. So if you want to win the game, right, find out what successful exhibitors are doing and do that, right? And that's what we're talking about here. So we're going to guide you down the path on defining your outcomes, developing action plans. Number 2, Mark, what are we expecting in terms of the number of attendees at WasteExpo this year? In round numbers, what are we expecting?
We're looking at a total attendance over 14,000, including the exhibitors.
Okay, so 13,000. So here's the big idea, right? So 13,000. A couple thoughts on that. Number 1, not all of those people are your ideal visitor, number 1. Number 2, you couldn't handle 13,000 people. I couldn't. None of us could. So what we got to apply here is the principle of selective attraction. So we want to figure out who are the right people, how much is enough for you, what is your value proposition, why out of, how many exhibiting companies are we going to have this year, Mark?
We're looking at 625 plus.
625 companies. So out of 625 companies, right, why should an attendee put your company on their must-see list, and why should they come visit you at the show? So we're going to have to define who your target visitor is, number one. How much is enough, number two. What is your value proposition? You know, why should they give you 3, 5, 7, 10 minutes of their time when there are 624 other exhibitors? And then we got to use targeted pre and at show marketing. The end game is attract enough of the right people to your exhibit. If you do this, you'll win, okay? If you don't, you'll struggle. Selective, and by the way, write this on your calendar on Wednesday, February 13th. Hold on. Yes, we are doing a webinar on driving qualified booth traffic. And by the way, you'll get like notifications from Mark and Debbie and the team about the webinar, but we're going to do a deep dive on number 2. We're going to do a single webinar, 1 hour. Come ready, because you're going to actually work through, you're going to create your value prop, and you're going to find, learn how to integrate different marketing media, free and low-cost stuff that you can do to get in the mind and on the agenda. Number 3, manage the visitor experience. Okay, so this has 3 elements to it: your booth, your product or service presentation or demonstration, and your staff. And so what you're going to have to do is step back and look at all 3 of those and synchronize them. So there's a high quality interactive visitor experience that secures a commitment to a clear next action with all qualified visitors. Number 4, if you're not signing contracts on the show floor, if you're not writing orders, right, and you ever want to get a return on your investment, the real product of the show for you, the thing that you're going to walk out of the convention center with, and this year we're in Las Vegas, right, so you'll be walking out with, is leads. Now this is a big problem, because what most exhibitors call leads are not really leads. Okay, they're more like swipes or scans. Okay, so we got to really look at this. What criteria do you need to capture to qualify a lead? We got to develop a questioning process that we integrate into our lead capture device and train our booth staff on guiding the conversation with questions so we can capture more information and get the visitor to commit to some clear next step. And then, of course, we got to follow up on that step. Lead management is a big problem in the trade show industry. According to attendees, they say that only 13% of the booths they stop at, only 13%, you may want to write that down, follow up with them. 87% don't. Okay, so that's a big problem, and that is blocking return on investment. And equally important, it's diminishing the value that the attendee gets from their time in the exhibit hall. So my philosophy on leads is very simple. If you're not going to follow up on a lead, don't take it. Tell the attendee, say, hey, based on what you've told me, I don't think we're a match, and point them to somebody else. Okay? Otherwise, not only would you limit and hurt your own ROI and your brand in the marketplace, but you would also be hurting the visitor experience. And number 5, measurement. There's an old saying, what gets measured gets done, right? There's another saying, it's hard to improve what you don't measure. And most exhibitors, if they're measuring anything from trade shows, it's very basic and it's very rudimentary. So what we got to do is come up with a set of performance, value, and ROI metrics so we can assess how well did we execute our exhibit, where did we get value for this big investment, and did we ultimately get a return on our investment. Finally, under measurement and learning, you should walk out of WasteExpo this year with at least 3 crystal clear lessons, learnings, things that you're going to do better for your next show. Because whatever you're getting now from trade shows, I am willing to bet the farm that you're only picking the low-hanging fruit. That what you can get if you execute around these 5 factors well over time will blow your mind. So this might be a good place for you right now, each of you on this briefing with me, to take a look at these 5 factors and score your company's current practices. So if you had to score how well your company is currently addressing these 5 factors on a 1 to 5, a 5 is very effective, a 4 is effective, a 1 is flat out ineffective. If you had to score these 5 factors, how would you score them? Look in your workbook. If you're taking notes on a legal pad, go ahead and score yourself on these 5 areas on a 1 to 5 right now. Because here's the promise. If you do these 5 things well, you're going to win. If you neglect or avoid any one or any combination of these 5, you're going to struggle, right? And it's really hard to fix what you don't acknowledge, right? So if you scored maybe a 2 on selective attraction, right, and you scored maybe a 3, 4, or 5 on the rest, then your limiting factor is going to be selective attraction, okay? So those are the 5 critical success factors. So let's keep on moving here. Grab your pen. We're going to have some fun right now. I'm going to take you on your first step toward defining your outcomes. This formula we're going to use is combining exhibit interaction capacity with conversion to lead, with conversion to sales. I've been applying this formula now for 27 years with my exhibiting clients, and it's amazingly accurate. As long as the numbers we put into the formula are accurate, this is the most mathematical scientific way we've discovered to be able to predict our results in advance. Now here's the thing, right? It's a formula and it works, but it's not a guarantee, right? We can't guarantee that. You know, there are so many factors that might influence whether this works out for you, you know, in terms of, you know, the quality, the salability of your products, how well you market, your booth staff, how clear and compelling your offer is, how well you follow up on your leads. There's a lot of factors that we talked about, but the formula works. So let's do this right now for you. I want you to grab a pen, grab a calculator, and I'm going to ask you to, when I'm done, go to your question and send in one of these numbers. So let's do it now. Ready? Here we go. So WasteExpo has 17 exhibiting hours. We're going to call that your opportunity. Now, we're not even counting the golden hours in the morning before the exhibit opens, and we're not counting the entertaining hours in the evening after the exhibit hall closes. I want you to win the game from your exhibit, and anything that comes before or after the open exhibit hours is the icing on the cake. Okay, so here we go. Now, next key number here. How many booth staff are you going to have in your booth on duty on average for those 17 hours? Go ahead and jot that down. The rule of thumb is 50 square feet per staffer. So if you tell me I'm going to put 4 people in my booth and you have a 10 by 10 booth, I'm going to tell you you're setting yourself up for failure. That's too many staff, right? Someone's going to walk down, look in your booth and see 4 people in there, and if you're all wearing red shirts or green shirts, they're not going to walk in, right? So the staffing rule of thumb is 50 square feet. If you got a 10 by 10, you have the space for 2 staffers. Now, there is a saturation point. If you're a large exhibitor, if you're in a 50 by 80, there is a saturation point where that 50 square foot will start to fall off. But I don't know that any of you on this call with me today are there, okay? So write that number down. Next, listen carefully. I want you to pick a target number of interactions per hour per staffer. 3, conservative. 4 is moderate. 5, maybe aggressive. And if you haven't used this formula before, I'm going to ask you to start with 3. I would much rather you be conservative and blow way past this then you set it pie in the sky and not achieve it, okay? So that means for each person standing in your booth over those 17 hours, they're going to talk to 3 people in an hour. Now you might ask, is that realistic? Well, when you consider that the average interaction in a booth is 3 to 7 minutes, I could make an argument for 8 to 20 interactions per hour per staffer. I'll never make that argument, right? 3 to 5, so pick your number. Now I want you to multiply these 3 numbers together, and I would submit to you that this is possibly the most important number you will ever understand about exhibiting. You have the capacity in this example for 102 face-to-face, one-to-one interactions in your booth. Now, if you don't like that number, if you look at that and go, is that all? Change the variables. Can you change the number of hours in the show? No, they're fixed. Can you change the number of booth staff? Maybe. Don't overcrowd it. Also, don't undercrowd it. If you're in a 10 by 10 and you're saying I'm only going to have 1 person, you're going to struggle, right? That's going to really put a limit on what you can do. Can you change the number of interactions per hour per staffer? Definitely. Good pre-show marketing, a well-designed exhibit that grabs attention, a well-trained booth staff that knows how to work the show. You definitely can change the number of interactions per hour per staffer, but I'm going to encourage you again, if you haven't used this before, to start conservative. Okay, now let's build this formula out. Hey, and by the way, I would like each of you on this briefing with me right now, click on your console. You'll see a tab that says questions. I would like you to click on that right now. And I would like you to type in your exhibit interaction capacity and send it to me right now. I just want to make sure that you're following along and you understand this formula, because this is going to drive a lot of your results. Okay, let me take a peek and see what's happening here. So someone on the briefing has the capacity for 204 interactions. Okay, and those of you who haven't, keep sending those, because I want to make sure that you understand it. I don't want you to walk off this and not understand this formula. So keep sending those, okay? Now, let's peel the onion a little bit more here. Let's drive this. Now, some percentage of your interactions are going to convert to an opportunity or a lead. The benchmark, according to a CEIR study, is 25%. 1 out of 4 visitors that enter a booth are interested enough to request information or contact. It's a good starting point. It's a benchmark, right? It's been validated. Therefore, excuse me, you would have a lead goal of 26 qualified leads by closing time. Next, some percentage of your leads are going to convert to either an order or a customer. The benchmark is 20%. In that example, you would have 5 new customers or 5 sales orders. Next, what is either your average sale amount or the value of a customer? In my example, it's $15,000. Therefore, my PSO, as I like to call it, is $75,000. Okay. Again, if I don't like the bottom number, I can change any of the variables. If I can increase any of those, if I increase any number, the bottom line gets higher and higher and higher. So I want you to work this formula, get it to where it feels reach, but realistic, right? Reach. You got to reach a little bit, but it's realistic. If you write the number at the bottom and it scares the heck out of you, it's probably too high. If you write the bottom number, your PSO, and you go, that's a slam dunk, it's too low. All right, so if you change any of the variables, you change the scale of the opportunity. All right. So now comes the big question. We took our first stab at setting a goal, which we actually set several goals there if you think about it. We set the target number of interactions per hour. We set our total interaction goal. we set a lead goal, and we set a sales conversion goal. We already got 4 goals, and we're just getting started, right? So what I want you to do when you get off this web briefing is go to the Exhibitor Success and ROI Center, download these 3 tools. They're free. They're part of your exhibit package. They've been battle tested and proven and updated and refined over the last 25 years. It's the same stuff I use with my clients when I work with them. You get it free. There's a cost control tool on the left, which you're going to love. There's a 16-week action planning tool, and there's a measurement tool on the right. Okay, download these tools. Plug in your numbers, and this will do all the work for you. And by the way, these are customizable, and you know, you can tweak them. They're Excel spreadsheets, so you can customize them. Okay. Number 2, an hour of planning usually improves the results by 100 to 200%. Okay, so we have set target dates for you to download and do 5 simple planning exercises. I would encourage you to put these dates on your calendar. That first one, by the way, you'll have to move to maybe tomorrow or Friday since we're here today. Gather your team, block 90 minutes. Don't do them all at once. Do them one at a time. Do them on or around the target dates we've given you here, and you will have a foundation built for exhibiting success. Remember, these are the 5 critical success factors. You will receive these by email, and they're available 24/7 on the Exhibitor Success and ROI Center. Number 3, kind of like you're doing here today, watch the webinars. This one, we're doing improving visibility and driving qualified booth traffic, so we're going to want to keep an eye on that one. Okay, that one's coming up. And then the articles. There's a bunch of content up there, and we've got it organized by topical area, so you can grab the article, and it'll give you additional insights and ideas. And number 5, as Mark mentioned, you got questions, we're here for you. I have a team of 10 trade show experts, many of which are certified trade show marketers. They carry the CTSM designation. We're at your beck and call. Drop us an email. Click on the button on the website. We'll respond. It says 24 to 48 hours. We're usually faster than that unless we're at a show and we're buried. Okay, so take advantage of all this stuff. It's free, right? It's part of your package. There's over $10,000 of trade show productivity tools, training, and resources there. It's all free. It's part of your package because you got a great management team at WasteExpo, like Mark said, who doesn't want to just rent you concrete. They want to help you make it productive and profitable. They want you to get such amazing results that you would never dream about not coming back to WasteExpo. And that's a pretty cool situation to be in. If you do many shows, you probably know that not many shows offer this level of support for free as part of your exhibit package. All right, so we're going to do something else cool. We're going to show up, and we're going to visit your booth in action. We're going to conduct our award-winning E3 evaluation. We're going to score your exhibit on 21 factors. We're going to take photos for your eyes only, and after the show, we're going to send you a report that shows your score, photographs, comments, comparison to the averages of all the exhibits we did at WasteExpo. This is an incredible tool here to have somebody stand outside of your forest and look at your trees, okay? So I've thrown a lot at you here. This may be a moment where a question has flashed into your mind, or if you haven't submitted your exhibit interaction capacity yet, this might be a good time to do that. And while you're thinking about your questions, I'm going to bring Mark back on for a moment. He's going to give you a fast and furious look inside of who attends, why they attend, what they want, and some things that you need to really think about as a new exhibitor to WasteExpo. Back to you, Mark.
Thanks, Jefferson. Appreciate it. That was good stuff, Jefferson. Oof. Okay, everybody, so here we go. Here's the attendees for WasteExpo. What it comprises of, it's right, because it is the meeting place for the industry. So we have the private sectors here, the public sectors here, organics and recycling professionals are here, as well as waste generators. So those are really the big overarching scope of the people who attend the show. from a job function standpoint, as you can see in the graph, it's almost 40% of really the corporate management of these companies are there. So there's a lot of C-level people are at the show. We also have a good 20% of the sales and finance people at the show. And also 23 people of really the operations management, so the people who are really doing the work in there are also at the show. Out of this group, around 85% of them are there to see really new products and new suppliers. So people, again, are always definitely looking for the new things in the industry. So you're definitely high on these people's list to go see while they're at the show. And 60% are there to meet some of their current suppliers. But that's really the mix of people at the show from the attendee standpoint. And again, what these attendees want, they really are looking, again, to see the new products and developments. They're there for new ideas, new solutions. So again, you guys are definitely a highlighted group for what these attendees are looking to see. Again, what else they want, they really would love to get focused, relative information pre-show, communications that will help them plan their visit before they get there and their experience there. That's what they're really looking for. They're looking for, on site, they're looking for really good information and interactions that will really help them better understand the products and services that you'll provide and can be able to compare them to other companies. And interactive displays and presentations really showing that product in the real world setting really helps them move forward and make a decision on where they want to go. Now, how the attendees behave, they definitely tend to plan ahead and set their agenda and really visit those booths. They definitely have plans to maximize their time there and see the people they want to see before they get there. And they really have a low tolerance now for the flash and the promotion stuff. They really want to see substance there. That they want to use their time wisely and see what they need to see. And as Jefferson said before, definitely we want to watch that driving qualified booth traffic webinar when we do that one.
So Mark, let me share some of the specific ways that attendee behaviors have changed over the years, because it appears that a lot of exhibitors aren't aware of the changes or they haven't adapted their exhibiting strategy. So number one, they tend to be registering closer to the show. They tend to be spending a fewer number of total days at a show. Now, this doesn't mean that they don't value shows. In fact, based on who attends, job titles and functions, it appears they value shows more than ever. But like you, me, and everyone else, their time away from the operation is really limited, okay? So fewer number of days. They are desperately looking for content and takeaway useful information. And they're looking straight to you, the exhibitor, for that information. Number four, they're pre-planning. 3 out of 4 are arriving with an agenda. The average attendee only stops at about 26 to 31 booths. Half of their stops are pre-planned. So I've thrown some heavy information here at you, and what I want you to know is that in spite of all these changes, 80% of exhibitors will do little or no targeting pre-show marketing. Less than 20% will execute a well-conceived campaign. Remember our message earlier, if you want to win, find out what the winners are doing? Well, the winners are pre-marketing their participation. So Mark, tell us about a couple of the free exhibitor marketing ops available as a WasteExpo exhibitor.
Sure, and here you go. So some of them are, you get your free company name, product, service category, and company description that lives on our website, which is, again, the company description will be very important for the attendees to know what your company does, how it fits into their plans to go see you. You also get that same information in our official program and exhibit hall that's given to every attendee on site. Again, it's a nice way for a company to see what you guys do and get to you. Also, again, leverage all our social media platforms that you guys can post on. Something else that's not on the list that I think is very important is we have a VIP program for exhibitor passes that should be given to all of you guys. If you guys have not received them, please let myself know or Deb know when we get them to you. These are invitations that you could send to your customers that would get them free exhibit hall passes to attend the show. And that's, from you, so it's a good marketing ploy for you guys to get them there. It also gives them 25% off any education they may want to do. So it's a good way to get your customers to the show to come see you guys. And here's the link for our Exhibitor Service Kit. So the Exhibitor Service Kit is where you would order all your supplies, carpeted, furniture, electrical for the show. The login link is there. Again, if you guys have any trouble, you can always reach out to me and Deb, and we can get that over to you. Through the Exhibitor Service Kit, you can log in. There's where you can update your e-booth and program listing of your company descriptions and categories. Again, all the official, you can also reach the Service Kit there and get all the official forms for the contractors to order all your supplies. Definitely pay very careful attention to this. There's deadline dates in there. I would suggest making sure you order before the deadline dates. There's big discounts in pricing if you order before those deadline dates. That can definitely save you a lot of money along the way. Also on the housing and travel, there again, it's a section on our website for that. We have an official vendor for that. Please, please, please get your hotel rooms through this official vendor. There are a lot of scam hotel companies out there that reach out to you guys. Do not get your hotel rooms through those companies. Definitely get them through that official site. And again, as always, any questions you ever have, please reach out and ask us anytime, anything. And here are some suggestions for you as a first-time exhibitor to help you really maximize your investment here at the show. Use the pre-show marketing. Target that audience for your product and service. Promote with free, and again, we also have some great sponsorship opportunities that can get your name out there to this audience before the show and drive them to your booth. As I just mentioned, please pay careful attention to all those deadline dates. When possible, order in advance. It's going to save you so much money if you're able to have this planned and paid in advance. And yeah, don't assume your orders have been received through GES or any of the other vendors. If you send them, call them, email them, double check on that because again, it will save you a tremendous amount of money. Keep all your contact information current. That's most important too. Order lead retrieval to be able to scan in those attendees and get their list to go back and follow up with them. And as always, like I just said, call us with any questions you have at any time.
All right, thanks, Mark. Some great information about who attends. We're pretty close to the buzzer here, so I want to ask everyone who's logged in what questions you might have. Go ahead and go to the queue right now, type them in. I'm going to close this out with sometimes the easiest way to succeed is just don't make the mistakes that so many exhibitors kind of fall prey to. Number one, Mark said it, read the Exhibitor Service Kit. Most of your headaches, hassles, and cost overruns will come from something in there that you probably didn't pay enough attention to. Number two, make sure your expectations are in touch with reality. When you use the goal setting process we teach you, it'll keep you in a reach but realistic mode. Number three, have goals. Reasons are not enough. Write that down. Reasons are not enough. Get some leads. Not good enough. By closing time, capture 26 qualified leads. Much better, right? Number four, you got to pre-market. There's 625 companies. The average attendee is going to visit 26 to 31. We want to make sure you're one of those. Number five, make sure your booth grabs attention, communicates what you do, gives the attendee a value proposition, a reason to stop. Make it easy to get into and make it easy to exit. Number six, give deep and careful thought to how you're going to show, tell, present your solutions. The number one way attendees want to engage with exhibits is through interactive presentations and demonstrations. Make sure you bring it. Make sure you make it interactive. See it, touch it, push buttons, do things. They've got to have something to interact with in your booth. Number seven, you can do the first six things right, but if your booth staff sits in the corner with a cell phone in one hand and a Starbucks in the other, it's going to fall apart. Make sure your booth staff is prepared. Do not take down your booth before the show closes. I have seen some of the most powerful buyers on the show floor late in the day and toward the back end of the show. It could also cause you not to be invited back to future shows. So make sure you keep your exhibit open during all open exhibit hours. Number 9, follow up, follow up, follow up. Remember, if you're not writing orders, the real ROI is hidden in your leads. And number 10, be careful about how quickly you judge the value of WasteExpo. Here's what I would say to you. If the waste market is important to your company, you are absolutely in the right show. But success takes time, right? So I would recommend that you, if this is your first time to WasteExpo and the waste market is important to your company, you make a 3-show commitment, coming back 3 consecutive years. If you ask any exhibitor who's been in the show over the years, many of them will tell you the watershed event seemed to be at year 3. Year 1, they came in, they were figuring it out. Now, we're doing a lot to jumpstart you and move that curve up. But don't quit early. Don't stop early. Commit to 3 shows. Make some time to get out, walk the exhibit hall. Download that measurement tool. That thing's going to give you some really cool metrics so you don't have to recreate the wheel. Grab those 3 lessons so you can get better and better at your next show. And just remember, it takes time, right? If you learn and you apply and you stay committed, there will come a day. It's my hope that that day is here in May of 2019. But there will come a day when you'll look back and go, wow, what a difference a trade show can make for our company. So the stage is set. You've got access to the resources, the map, and the tools. The question is, how successful do you want to be? And most importantly, it's not what you heard here today. It's what you do. Knowledge in and of itself is not power. Knowledge intelligently applied at the right time frames is power. So use the power that you already possess, add the tools and the knowledge we're giving you, and you will be on your way to an incredibly productive and successful WasteExpo. I'm going to take one more look in the question queue, and if you're logging off right on this moment, please watch your email over the next few minutes. Give us some feedback on the survey. Mark, any closing thoughts or any comments from WasteExpo?
I like to thank you all for taking your time today to listen to this webinar. Again, we're here to help provide you, make this a very successful show. Again, you're the first-time exhibitors. You guys are very, very important to us. Anything we can do along the way to help you, please reach out to us at any time.
Yeah, and then as Mark mentioned earlier, the Exhibitor Success Program, this 5-step process, make sure that you bookmark it. Make sure you share it with everybody on your team. And most importantly, make sure you use the resources and do those 5 exercises. And we want to thank you for being a new exhibitor. We want to thank you for investing some time with us. Have a great rest of your day. We look forward to seeing you on our next webinar, Driving Qualified Booth Traffic. That will be Wednesday, February 13th. So until we cross paths again, have fun, get your ducks in a row, and get ready for an incredible WasteExpo 2019. Thanks for logging into our web briefing. We will see you on the Exhibitor Success Program website and at the next webinar. Have a great day, everybody.